If you're looking at the job market right now, I guess there are sort of four possible places you could go. There's a research university, teaching university or college, a government lab, or industry.
Well, the goal of the panel tonight is just to expose students and postdocs to different career options, whether they be in academia, industry, or government labs, and then also to give them tips on jumpstarting their careers and more details on job search and so on. I basically applied at that time to just about anything and everything. I don't remember the exact number. I think it was like 180 positions that year. In the end, this netted me, I think it was something like 11 interviews and about 6 offers. Part of the reason for that was I wasn't really sure, what kind of position I had a good chance of getting hired for, I guess. You go out throughout graduate school, your advisor tells you your research is going well and so on, but you don't have a good sense of really where you stand compared to other people. What's the job market like? How hard is it to get a position in a certain place? How likely are they to hire someone in my research area? And all of these other factors that make it really hard to know where you're going to get hired.
The message that came from the panel was to be flexible, be ready to adapt. Don't necessarily think that you can stick with what you did in your dissertation for the rest of your career. Network, learn how to write proposals, and make sure you show a steady track record of productivity.
Some of these required kinds of statements for basically any kind of academic job, you can start getting them ready. So you need to get your curriculum vitae written and in good shape. You need a research statement. You need a teaching statement. So I advise people to get an early start on those kind of statements. The best piece of advice I can give is to get advice from several people when you do your job search, and don't let sort of any one person sway you, but really do networking, get tips on where to apply, or what positions might suit you best. So don't try to just be the lone wolf, because there's a lot of experience out there, and people can help you if you're just willing to go to them and ask your questions.
At most institutions, they are looking for at least some level of performance in teaching, research, and service to the university. Usually for that first tenured position, service is not nearly so important, but the other two, they're looking at least for some level of competency. And you need to make sure that you don't let the fact that you really enjoy item A prevent you from making adequate progress in item B.
If you take charge of your career, you can have a lot of fun with it. I seldom meet people that have PhDs in mathematics who say, I really don't like what I'm doing. You just don't find those people very often. So it's, I think, a real rewarding thing that they're going to grow into as they see that, especially as applied mathematics. They get to do important problems that'll yield results that they'll be proud of 20 years from now.
Why Merck? That's a pharmaceutical company. My wife is a medicinal chemist. She will be working for that. Why would a mathematician join?
Be more open-minded. Don't be like me. I only thought and I chose academia as a first pass, and that's nothing wrong with it. You should choose what you are comfortable with. But to think that's the only choice is not right.
My primary goal is to make sure I do one thing very well, and that's periodically answer questions with useful information. Not a complete characterization necessarily, but something that's very, very useful, that will set up the next set of experiments, that will stop a program before it eats up a few $1 million over the next month, or continue it or change directions.
Talk to people who work in industry and find out what their job is like. What do they do daily? They don't go and teach necessarily a class or course or direct PhD programs, but they do research.
I started off as a postdoc in what's called the Combustion Research Facility in Sandia National Labs. After a year of postdocing, I became a staff member in the computational science division. If you want an academic career, good. If you want a career that's 80% like your academic career, come to the national labs. We certainly take on more ambitious problems, and we work in a disciplined way. And strangely enough, this might sound strange, you do have a lot of freedom, enormous amounts of it, but you got to be good. If I were to distill all this thing into 4 points, what would they be? Number 1, go get yourself an internship in one of the labs. Get to know your future employers and let them get to know you. Number 2, don't get hung up on developing the same techniques that you've developed as a PhD student. Adapt and adapt again. 3, network, land yourself a job, and then network again to get more information. And fourth, once you've landed a job, from day one, from the first second, try scheming to become independent. New funding sources, new people to work with, new problems to work with. That is how you go up the ladder.
The job will not find you, you have to find the job. Well, as a student, you don't lead, you follow your advisor, but when you're looking for a job, it's your responsibility, and once people understand that, so nobody will give the job to them, you should go out and get it. Well, smart thing I did was, I was very selective, and I targeted a specific person, and I knew his work, and I read his papers, and I wanted to work with that person specifically, and I emailed him. All right, so here's my previous work, my humble results, and I want to work with you this summer, and he said yes. So when you send more personalized emails to people, instead of, well, I'm looking for an internship, and I don't even check your web page, I don't have no idea about your previous work, but I'm looking for an internship. It's people, well, sometimes, well, not everybody will respond. You cannot be shy about these things if when you're looking for a job. Well, be network, ask people, talk to people, and grab the bull by the horns. I think that they'll find a new job.